Hey, I wanted to hop on the front and give kind of an explanation real quick. It's gonna sound like this was recorded back on January 6th. That's because it is. We had a lot of things falling apart behind the scenes for a minute. My computer stopped working about halfway through editing. I was already 2 weeks into editing, and then it took another 2 weeks to fix it. And then we had a major winter storm down here. We're in the Austin area. Everything was shut down. Literally, the power was out for a week straight. And it's just kind of a nightmare hopping back into getting everything done. So that's why this episode is so late. Thank you so much for your patience. We've changed our Twitter handles like twice since we recorded this episode. So you'll hear some inserts later on. But I hope you're having a great day and enjoy this episode. Thank you. Stop recording.
I don't know how you forgot.
I have emotion brain. It's been a stressful day.
It's called a cold open.
It's been a stressful day. I called it a dry open.
Maybe.
I don't know anything, and you know this.
You're editing this, so I'm not worried.
Oh. Then whatever I say.
Please leave that. Please do a beep over it. For anyone listening to this that listens to our other shows, I'm working on it. Sorry.
You think this one will be out before those?
I really hope so, although our last episode of this still isn't out, and we recorded that...
Because it's never coming out.
7 months ago.
It was a bad episode.
Man, the pandemic's hit hard. Do you want to talk about current events for a second? We are recording this as the Capitol burns.
Well, no, don't be that specific because it's not burning yet. It could start burning.
Okay, yeah,
so
that's true.
You don't want to play fast and loose with that description because
they did find an IED in the RNC, and it was safely detonated, whatever that means.
That means Bomb Squad came in and put a bucket over it and blew it up.
Man, where do you get that bucket? Are you telling me Lowe's doesn't carry that bucket?
Honestly,
because I'd like to pick one up for myself.
I wouldn't be surprised if they did. Frankly, this is America, sir. No, the Capitol was
raided,
essentially. Sacked. I wouldn't. Well,
they did take the podium.
They did take a podium, not the podium. There's several podiums.
It had the seal.
Yeah, they all. do.
It's an eagle, not a seal, but you know what I mean.
Oh my god.
Man, we're back. We're back in full swing.
And here we go. It's showtime.
Get in, loser.
You have any thoughts of your own on this
Anyway, and they're confirming, they're still going through the, official reading the electoral votes. But yeah, they're voting, and then, I don't want to get political, but...
I think Channel 3 is comfortable with taking an official stance that we're not okay with anyone raiding the Capitol.
That we are against fascism.
Yes.
That's the official stance. We're against fascism and anything Alex Jones stands for.
We should clarify, we're not endorsing a particular anti-fascism movement.
But we are denouncing fascism.
But yes, as a concept, fascism is a bad thing.
That's,
hot take.
Well, actually... We are anti-fascism. Space. There's a space in between.
Anyway, let's do the show.
Well,
what's our theme song?
I don't have any idea.
We've only done the one episode.
We've only done the one episode.
Should we explain what happened to the second episode?
I was about to say we should. Yeah, so we recorded a second episode back when I was living in my old place, like in...
That was June 2 moves ago for you.
July. I wouldn't say I moved in here. I did. I made a mess of the place.
You most certainly did.
Well, Fair. I just have a lot of junk and not a lot of energy to do anything about it.
I get that.
You should see my apartment right now. You should see my apartment in like 2 days.
Sick. Looking forward to it.
It actually looks really good. Norm came and helped me. And I can say this because I'm editing it. But I got really the other night and rearranged my living room.
So we recorded an episode with Wes. We talked about a little indie film called Hot Rod. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of it.
And I'll just give my review right now. I didn't love it. It was a comedy from 2000 what?
Yes.
11 or something?
Probably earlier than that.
Well, it was very of the time, and I understand that you guys can like those, and that's fine.
Also,
and there were some good bits of it.
If you saw it when it came out, I think it's still kind of, it's like watching a comedy from the 80s with your parents. Like, they watched it when it came out, so they still think it's
They were
great.
also, they were like...
But, like, if you go watch those movies now, it's not the same comedy style. Some of them, some of them are still classics, but things have
Hot
changed
Rod
since
is
then.
not one of them. And
I think
say
Hot Rod
that.
is a classic.
Yeah, but that's because how old are you?
Yes.
A 26-year-old man?
Yes.
So, I don't know. I feel like it's more for your demographic than mine.
Probably.
And, like, I also just don't really like comedies typically. Especially, like, comedies like that. Where it's, like, a lot of tropes, and even if they're leaning into the tropes, it's like, okay.
Well, it
great.
was written by The Lonely Island, so...
Yeah.
You get what you get. Anyway,
You get
that's
what
not
you
what
get.
we're here to talk about today.
No, but I'll go ahead and give my review since we
Okay.
watched it. I might as well.
Yeah.
I can do like a little mini episode or something. Hot Rod was fine. I think I gave it like a 6 out of 10. Which is like, not like an IGN 6 out of 10.
A little
like,
something for everyone.
It's fine. I would watch it if you're drunk with your friends.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate.
The problem is I was sober.
The thing about it is, it's great to quote.
Yeah, it's got a lot of really good quotable lines.
My favorite one, and I almost did it the other day in front of people. Particularly my mom, yes, is that one.
You gotta
You
say
look
it
really
again.
pretty, Denise. What? I said you look shitty, Denise.
Wes says that to me a lot.
I like Hot Rod.
I don't, and that's okay. I will watch it again.
I'm going to
with
storm
you.
the Capitol building because I like Hot Rod
Shut
and you
up.
don't. That was in such poor taste.
That was not good.
Someone did lose their life today. We should be more reverent of that. I don't know who or if she was involved in any particular side of it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
She was one of the terrorists.
Oh, well, never mind. Anyway,
I'll cut that.
I got no sympathy for terrorists. Let's keep going.
1640 to what? 1730?
1732. We're making a lot of notes about cuts here. You should leave in when we reference what we're cutting, but
yeah.
cut the actual content.
Oh, absolutely. Cutting the content because we're not trying to get canceled out here.
So, let's talk before we get into the actual
sorry,
topic.
one last thing. So we recorded that episode. I listened back to it. It is not good.
Wes and I had a couple of drinks, and we were on Discord.
And I was sober, and I didn't like the movie. And also, Wes was falling asleep at one point, and you just, like, weren't there. So I was doing a lot of, like, the, okay, guys, we should talk about the next part, and you guys going, like, yeah. And it was, like, 2 a.m, and you can just tell. It was just not good content, so I'm just not going to... I might, like, go through and edit some highlights or something, and we could do a highlight
maybe
reel,
we can put a reel together and put it on Patreon.
Boom. We've done it.
Boom. Outtakes.
But yeah, for a full episode, especially for just the second episode, I didn't want to put that out.
I think we have finally our Channel 3 outtakes up on Patreon.
Wow. I'll tell my mom to pay for
They
it.
are mostly Ethan.
I have heard that once or twice every time you talk about the outtakes.
So
you've probably got some good clips from me in the last year.
surprisingly, no. I stopped
You
keeping track
coward.
of outtakes.
Well, why would you do that?
I don't know. Everyone knows you don't know who was on what side of World War II. The Italians were bad guys.
Yeah, Mussolini. Boom.
Yeah. Also, to go back to what we were cutting from earlier.
Marty just jumped from the floor into my lap.
Trump almost directly quoted Mussolini.
Doesn't he do that like too often?
Yeah, fair.
Like, I would say once or twice. It's an
Marty,
accident.
Get down. Just put him
He's
on the
my
floor.
friend.
Just put him on the floor.
Oh, he's got stinky breath.
Yeah, he
my
really
little buddy.
does.
Okay, my little buddy. You may go.
He's got old man breath, but he's a dog. So it's like double whammy. So anyway,
yeah.
before we get into the topic for tonight, which we are going to do,
It's been 20 minutes.
let's talk about just moving forward, because we have finally united the entire group chat for all of the shows.
Yes.
Into one single thread. So we've been able to talk about it. We got our first payout for our ad revenue, which was not big, but thank you. We appreciate
Woo!
it. So we've all we got this, I wouldn't call it renewed sense of motivation.
Also, new year, new us.
New year, same thing.
But we're trying so hard. We have a renewed interest and renewed passions, I guess.
Yeah, money will do that to you.
Money will do that. Money can't buy happiness, but it can buy things that make me happy.
Yes.
So, let me tell you, since I got my new job, I've been buying so much food.
It's
I know.
It's fine. That's good for you.
Oh, okay. I tweeted the other day. I don't think people got it because Catherine yelled at me for it, but I tweeted, having enough money to get DoorDash whenever I want it has corrupted me. Eat the rich. And Catherine yelled at me. She was like, if you say eat the rich one more time, and I was like, the joke is that I'm rich now. She was like, oh, okay, as long as you're self-aware. And I was like, okay, yeah. What, like?
Still eat the rich, though.
Still eat the rich.
Wait.
I also...
We probably shouldn't endorse anything that drastic during such, should we call it turbulent times?
No, I'm sticking to that.
Okay.
I don't think you understand. I've been radicalized. I was radicalized last summer.
Fair.
I did bring my mom around on eating the rich because she is rich, frankly. She's not like rich, but she's like comfortably middle class, I'll say. And so she and I came to the conclusion, as long as I'm not the one eating her, she understands.
Okay, well that's good.
Yeah, I was like, your money will go into social programs, so it's like fine. And she went, oh, well, can you not eat me? I was like, that can be arranged. Yeah. So
anyway, we've got, we're moving forward with all of our shows, including this one. We have not a plan, but like a soft plan to do some.
Also, our lives are settling down.
Yes, finally.
Yeah, like we're all getting into the swing of
all I have
balance.
to do is write several programs.
And I have to write the same thing 10 times a day so much that I have it copy-pasted. 10 times a day is low.
Generous? Yeah.
But, yeah, we're getting there. And then also just, like, the state of the world, it's so hard to stay creative right now.
Yeah.
It's hard to stay motivated.
It's hard to look at what's going on and think, we should do a
let me
podcast.
make a stupid joke about...
Yeah.
What have I made a stupid joke about besides politics tonight?
I don't want to say, but it involves light BDSM and Ryan Gosling.
Oh, no, I'll stick to that. I said that if Ryan Gosling asked to slap me, that's fine.
That's where it started.
That's where it ended.
Yeah. That's not what I remember. Look, it doesn't matter.
What else did I say?
I'm
editing
We talked about it for a little bit. It doesn't matter.
For like a second.
The point is, we're never watching a Ryan Gosling movie again.
You think that.
So anyway, yeah, we have some.
I'm very lonely.
Some cool plans for this show. We want to do some bigger series. Take some series of movies and analyze them in like a longer
when we
format
say plan,
episode.
We talked about it in passing.
I mean loose plan. Well, we talked about that particular series tonight, but we've talked about it before for Patreon.
I want to do the Cornetto Trilogy. I know I've already seen it.
Oh no, so do I.
But like,
no, I'm a big fan of those movies.
Hot Fuzz is my comfort. My last breakdown. Also, I'm over my breakdowns right now. Another one is coming. I will just go ahead and mention. But I watched Hot Fuzz like every day for a week. Because it was just like...
We just watched it recently. She hadn't seen it.
I watched it on a date a few weeks ago.
Hot Fuzz?
It's...
very good.
It's very good.
Yes.
And Shaun of the Dead is great. And World's End is... Fine. If it wasn't compared to... Like, I think Hot Fuzz is as close to a perfect movie as you can get, frankly. So comparing it to that is not fair.
Yeah. Anyway, not what we're here to talk about tonight. We could, but we won't. So yeah, I think it'll be fun moving forward with some big stuff. And
if anyone has suggestions for movies, I probably haven't seen them, so send them our way. You can tweet. Do we have a Twitter for this account for this yet?
I don't know.
I don't think let me go on Twitter real quick.
But I can put a form on the website for people to suggest things.
Cool. And then I'll also make a Twitter and...
well, let's do that after the show.
Why?
Because this is not going to go up yet. It's not live. And so you can still continue to do this after the show.
No, right. But then I can plug it right here.
But you can plug it right here and then do it.
Well, I want to come up with something dumb for the name, so it's going to take me a minute. I'm going to be thinking about it while we're discussing.
Okay, we can insert a plug later.
Hey, this is Emily from the future. It's not. It's still me.
So let's move on.
Okay.
But tonight we did not do any of those big things.
But we talked about them, which the first step.
Yes, we figure we should probably establish a format and have 2 episodes before we start trying to grow. So
here it is, episode number 2.5, baby.
And I feel like we should explain the process for how we select the movies that we review, because really there
is no process.
That's the point. So for what this show is lightly billed as, you would expect that we would take, the most influential movies and work through them. I have a whole
poster that like we should work through.
I have 2. And you're right, but the thing is,
I think this might be on there.
It's not on mine.
Well, I don't know. And it's been a minute since I
don't even know how this movie is regarded critically, because I've heard a lot of people hate on it.
I will say, well, I'll hold my opinions, but I wouldn't expect it to be on there. I thought it was more of a classic than it.
I think it deserves a place, at least in certain lists. I think...
but everything has a place on some list.
Okay, let's just talk about it. We watched,
Drive with Ryan Gosling.
Yes, we did. And I should say that I saw this movie when it came out in theaters. I thought it was
surprised.
Thought it was awesome. Really loved it. Bought it as soon as it hit DVD and have not watched it since.
2011, really?
That sounds about right. That was when I was in my peak DVD buying.
You never left that. I want that to be
fair,
established and clear.
I mean, what did you think? Because we got into a conversation a little bit just now, and then we stopped because we're going to talk about it more.
I don't know that I liked it. I really don't.
Interesting.
I liked the beginning, and then...
The beginning was just leering.
Yeah, but it was really cute, I think.
Just lots of leering.
We'll go through it, but like the beginning was very fun and kind of not. I don't want to say cutesy, but it felt good to watch. It was fun to watch.
It was as genuine as a silent protagonist can be.
Yeah,
I think.
And I play a lot of video games, so to give a quick synopsis of the film, so obviously spoilers ahead.
Yeah. And I will say it was nice to see you reacting throughout the movie because you weren't expecting what was coming. That was fun. So spoilers ahead.
Yeah, so I really was going in blind to Driver because I've heard that. That's right. I think I put Drive notes because I really wasn't sure. But it starts out so I would say like the first 15 minutes really feels like Baby Driver.
I would say the first 15 minutes really feels like Transporter.
But I haven't seen that. So.
Yes, you haven't, but you should. Anyway.
Great. But I mean, it's not going to have
for people that have seen that.
Sure.
You know.
And it doesn't have like the same vibe or anything, but it's kind of that showing the driver as like this really smart guy and making a clean getaway. Also,
while we're talking about the vibe to this movie is outrun, which is a subgenre of vaporwave, basically, which is a subgenre of electro. Well, it's based on, so there was an old arcade game called Outrun, Sega Outrun, and it's basically based on that. Like the music is meant to invoke the feeling of the music that accompanies the arcade game, and then the aesthetic is based on the music. Anyway, I'm a big fan of it. It's something that I actively follow.
Yeah, I believe that just by
the everything about me.
Exactly. That's what I was gonna say.
Fair.
Yeah, and that's fine. It's a very specific like musical vibe. The soundtrack is like, I guess the best way to describe it, if you don't know it, is like vaporwave. I guess if you've never listened to like anything in that subgenre, it's kind of like 80s meets early thousands.
Listen to a band
drama shows. It sounds like Twin Peaks music is what I'm trying to say. A little
bit, yeah.
But like a little bit more 80s synth.
Listen to a band called Comtruise. It's Tom Cruise, but the first letters are switched.
A counter argument, don't.
Well, but I'm saying that's the genre. That's outrun.
Like it's fine. And it kind of grew on me, but it like the first half of every song I was just annoyed. And then as soon as I started to get into it, the song would end.
Yeah.
And that was every single song.
But like everything down to the fonts and the way it was lit and stuff like that is meant to kind of invoke outrun. So which I appreciate, and also I saw it before I knew what that was, and now that I know what that is, going back to it, it's neat.
The beginning is very like kind of lighthearted. He seems like he's going on the right path. He meets a girl.
She's alright.
She's okay. Yeah, she's super cute, but like we'll get there, but I don't get how
her judgment calls are a little wild.
Super bad. But then it just kind of like turns really quickly. Well, it kind of slowly starts to go there, and then it like turns super fast, and like that's the rest of the movie. It gets, I would say, dark. It kind of gets like American Psycho dark. Maybe I shouldn't reference other movies in this podcast.
I mean, I get what you're saying, but I think it plays to...
It doesn't go where you think it's going to go. No, sure.
It went where I thought it was going to go.
I didn't. I thought, because they were talking about, like, starting in races and stuff. And, like, one of my earliest notes was, I'm confused on what the story is supposed to be. Just because
it's a revenge thriller.
No, sure, but, like, it doesn't really plant the seeds in the ways that movies with that plot do. Because the first, I would say half hour, the first full act is not about that at all.
No. But once, I mean, they introduced the mob pretty early.
Sure, but it's not like...
And once you get the mob involved, it's like, oh, okay, this is going to be violent.
I don't know. I didn't see it that way, but I also was kind of feeling the Baby Driver vibes more, which that is a pretty, like... all things considered, it's a pretty light movie.
Yeah.
Even though that's got a pretty, I would say a medium body count. maybe I shouldn't say that because that's a spoiler for a completely different movie. It's been out for a minute now. No, it totally shifts. And at least to me, the way I was interpreting it, from the first act to the second half, there's a tonal shift. And to the third act, there's like, it's a lot more similar to the second act. But the first and second act, I think, are
I think
pretty drastic.
The way that the character was acted in the first act, immediately I was like, oh, this guy's a psycho. He's gonna murder people.
I don't know if it's because it's Ryan Gosling. Apparently Hugh Jackman was supposed to be
really
the driver.
That would have been an entirely different
That
film.
would have been a different movie, and I would have known the moment he walked into frame. Or I guess they panned over the first shot.
You never know. It might have been a musical.
Shut up.
I think it also... This was not early in Ryan Gosling's career, but there wasn't much that he was known for outside of The Notebook. And there still isn't, I guess.
Yeah, I think he's in a lot of really good, relatively small projects.
Yeah, which is what this was. And I think this was something that helped him break like the potential to be stuck in a romantic role for the rest of his career.
Yeah.
So, which is good, because like I still have that issue where every time I see Daniel Radcliffe, even though he's trying his hardest to be something different, I'm like, oh, look at Harry Potter go.
Yeah.
He's doing great.
Yeah. And I think I watched some like other Ryan Gosling things before I watched The Notebook.
Goosebumps? Solid.
No, I think I just knew him from pop culture, and then I saw The Notebook, so I saw Ryan Gosling in The Notebook instead of, hey, that's Ryan Gosling from The Notebook.
I saw him in Goosebumps first, but I didn't remember that.
Sure.
Until I rewatched it as an adult.
Yeah. Ryan
Which
Gosling.
I highly recommend rewatching Goosebumps as an adult.
I didn't watch it as a child.
Of course you didn't. Anyway, well, let's talk about your notes, because you took some notes.
I did take some notes.
I'd like to hear what they are, because I haven't heard what they are.
Sure, so I'll just read down the list.
We haven't finished talking about what the movie's actually about either.
Right. But I was saying, because that's really all I wanted to say was like the tone shifts I didn't like. That's all to say. I didn't like it. I didn't like the tone shifts.
Oh, okay.
Just because I was expecting something so completely different. Because I thought they were going to get into like racing and, turning clean. And that's not what happened.
No. Quick synopsis.
Yeah. Quick.
He's a stunt driver who
also does getaway driving.
Moonlights as a getaway driver. He gets involved with his neighbor, and her husband gets out of prison. He owes money to some people for prison protection.
The husband, who's Oscar Isaac.
Yeah, who is Poe. And
Poe Dameron, baby.
So
Are we gonna get sued for just saying Poe Dameron?
Maybe. So Ryan Gosling's character helps him with a last job to basically cover his debts from prison, so that those people will leave that family alone. Because
he fell for the girl, and he really got along with the kid.
Yeah.
So he wants them to be safe.
So they go for the last job. Spoiler alert, the husband gets shot.
Well, yeah, it's Oscar Isaac.
Yeah.
He's got to die and everything pre-Star Wars.
So he gets shot, and it turns out to be a setup, and it's a whole mob thing.
The girl from Mad Men's in it.
Yeah.
The redhead.
So now he's involved with the mob, which he was already involved with in a different way because they own the
racing thing that they were going to do.
Race.
The racing thing.
So he basically goes on a
tirade.
A tirade. I was going to say, I can't think of the word now. That thing Archer likes to do. You haven't watched Archer. It's fun.
I watched a couple episodes.
It's a pretty good show. A rampage.
He
goes on a rampage and takes down...
Now, to be fair, he doesn't go after anybody. Well, he does go after one person.
He goes after one person.
But I think two people. I think both of them deserved it, frankly.
Yeah. But no one in this movie is a good guy, and that's what's interesting
except
to me.
The kid.
Yeah, the kid, but he's not... You know what I mean.
He doesn't know better. Yeah, even the mom, she's like...
Like, the husband, he's a nice guy, but he was in prison, and he's still doing crimes when he gets out.
He's still doing the crime.
Ryan Gosling.
Well, and then also...
Very handsome, criminal.
Definitely.
Bryan Cranston, broken hip, wants to go legit.
Pelvis, yeah.
Still a criminal.
Mm-hmm.
And the other two main characters are both mob leaders.
Yeah.
So, one of them is Ron Perlman, though. And how can you not like Ron Perlman?
That's true. I liked his character.
Yeah,
even though
right?
I knew
Even though he was the worst.
Yeah. But yeah, he goes on a rampage, and then at the very end, he gets, like, he makes sure that the girl and the kid are safe. And then he gets stabbed, and then he, like, leaves behind the money from the setup.
Which he was never interested in.
Yeah, he was never interested in the money. He was just trying to keep the mom and kid safe. Irene and... what was the kid's name? But he just wanted to keep them safe, and he kind of drives off into the sunset. And
that's a thing that I liked that I'm sure we'll come around to as we go through the story.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's hear about some notes.
Oh, Benicio.
That's it.
He was a good kid. So yeah, the notes are in chronological order, so we'll kind of go through them. Too many intros, because there were so many titles cards. Like 4 or 5.
Yeah. And it's a movie that...
and it wouldn't be so bad, but they were all like a full 20 seconds.
Yeah, like a Family Guy joke intro.
That's your one.
That's fine. People will probably get the rest of that reference if I don't say it. This movie is a low-budget-ish movie, but I don't think it's technically independent. But either way, it's one of those things where, like, every studio remotely involved put an intro at the beginning of it. And
their full intro.
A lot.
Yeah. Too many intros. And then Bryan Cranston.
Cool. Thumbs up.
Honestly, well, especially when you were like, wait, is that Bryan Cranston? I didn't think he was going to be more... I didn't think he was going to be in more than that scene.
Yeah.
So I was like, Bryan Cranston, gotta write that down.
He was fairly prevalent through the entire movie until he died.
Yeah. So he sets up...
He's like
the
manager.
What's the main character's name?
Yep. They just call him the kid the whole time. I don't know that they ever really talk about his name.
Driver.
There you go.
He's billed as driver. So, Ryan Gosling. He works for Bryan Cranston. I don't know any of the characters' name, I should mention. Except
Bryan Cranston's name
Irene.
was something... His name was like Sally or something like that. Shannon, that's it.
Yeah. I only remember Irene because as soon as I saw her name tag, Come On Irene, got stuck in my head. Oh, it's Come On Eileen also.
Yes, it is.
So that's embarrassing. That was one of my top played songs of last year. But I kept singing Come On Irene, which I've decided that was a joke that I made.
There we go.
A mistake. But that's the only reason I remember her name. And then Benicio I looked up. But so Ryan Gosling is... How did it open?
With a job.
No, right. But the opening shot. What was it?
I think the opening shot was them in the garage. No, the opening shot... The earliest thing I remember is him picking up the car from the garage.
Me too, but I feel like there was something right before it.
I think he was just driving down the road through a title sequence.
And that was really long.
Yeah, lots of credits.
Lots of them.
But it was a pretty font, so...
Yeah, it was... well. And it was very, best way I can describe it, really vibey.
Yeah, that
just
works.
Vibing. Because that vaporwave was going, and you just got to look at Ryan Gosling.
Outrun. Vaporwave is much brighter than Outrun.
And so Bryan Cranston sets him up with a super inconspicuous car.
A Chevy Malibu.
No, a silver Impala.
Was it?
Yeah, I wrote it down.
I could swear it was a Malibu.
It was an Impala.
Someone drives a Malibu.
Great.
Anyway,
this one was an Impala.
Anyway, it was the most popular car in
California and in the most popular color, so no one was going to be looking at him. If you don't know what an Impala is, imagine a car. That's the one.
Yep.
So he picks it up and you can tell already that they're in cahoots.
They do talk about
they talk about
adding,
the engine and
adding
stuff.
horsepower.
Yeah, it's a 300 horsepower when normally they're not that. I couldn't tell you what it was.
300 horsepower for that is crazy.
Yeah. It's a Chevy Impala. So he times it. It starts with a phone call in a hotel room.
It does, doesn't it?
Because he's telling the
lays
people
out
he's
his
working with.
rules.
Yeah, he's got rules, which I also thought were going to come up more often. And they only come up twice, which is fine.
I think that's more to show that he's a professional.
Yeah. He will do anything for you for 5 minutes. You've got 5 minutes after leaving the car to get back. If you don't get back in the car by then, he's leaving. But in the meantime, he'll do whatever you need him to. So, and then you can't reach him again on that phone. He gets rid of it. That's a job.
Yep.
That's it. And then he goes and picks up the car. So he sets his watch timer to 5 minutes, sets it on the steering wheel.
Turns up the Clippers game,
which was really clever.
Yes.
He was also watching the Clippers game.
The way
beforehand.
that they set that up.
Well, that was really clever.
Yes.
Yes. Because he's got the basketball game on in the background when he's on the phone call in the hotel room. He's got it on the radio.
And it's kind of annoying because he's got the police scanner going as well. And you're kind of like, why is he doing this?
Yeah,
Shouldn't he just be listening to the police scanner?
Yeah, and you kind of get the vibe that he's obsessed with basketball. And that's not the case, but we'll get there. The people that he's driving, they make the hit. It's a robbery. And then they hear on the police scanner that they're looking for the silver Impala. So he starts to drive. He goes around pretty inconspicuous until they spot him. And then he can blend in with the crowd pretty easily as well, with the cars in general.
Yeah.
And he keeps getting out of sight. And then he goes over to the stadium that you did see in an overhead shot that was on his TV.
Staples
for the
Center.
Yeah, the Staples Center. And he just goes into the parking lot, parks it, and leaves as the game is getting out.
Yeah, and you're listening to the 5-second countdown at the end of the game on the radio as he's pulling in.
Which is just so clever. That's the payoff for the basketball game, is he's using his environment. He really plans it out.
So, but what I don't get is he gets out of the car, leaves the two guys without saying a word, which, fine, whatever.
Yeah.
Puts on a Clippers hat, turns his jacket inside out, throws it over his shoulder, and just walks away. Did he make enough money on that job to cover the entire cost of a Chevy Impala?
They cost like $10. And also he works at a car shop. Like,
yeah, maybe it was like an abandoned junker or something.
well, because they mentioned later that guy, he just restores cars that aren't ever going to sell or anything.
Yeah, so maybe.
So you could just have...
But like at the
cars.
time, that was a relatively new Impala, which I could still swear was a Malibu. But it doesn't matter because they're basically the same
Look
car.
it up!
They're basically the same car.
Yeah, they're boring in silver.
Although Impalas actually have a little more
Classic
street cred.
Impalas?
Classic Impalas are beautiful.
Beautiful.
We don't have to talk about Baby, though.
That's all I know. That's how I know that. Modern Impalas leave much to be desired.
Yeah.
Looks-wise.
But that was the point.
That's the point. So
finishes the job, goes to...
Yeah, so my note is basketball, really cool use of environment, and very aware of surroundings.
Yeah.
And that was also another thing that reminded me of Baby Driver, although obviously Baby Driver came 5 years later.
I thought it was even newer than that.
I think it was 2016 or 17. Wasn't past then. It's based on a book.
It is based on a book.
So that was all before the opening credits, because based on a book was part of the opening credits. But yeah, that was another thing that reminded me of Baby Driver, and why I kind of thought it was going a similar route of Baby Driver, is because he's got they're establishing so much of his character in that
he's
car
a professional.
Chase. Yeah, he's a professional. He's smart. does not care about the other people. He's got it. Well, like, he cares enough to get the job done, but he's also like,
there's no personal. He's not
attached. He's not like, hey, are you guys okay?
Return business.
He doesn't care. Like, he's getting paid and he's going home, and that's
what he does.
That's what he does.
Which, okay, I assumed he went to a hotel room because of how empty it was, but I think that's also supposed to be character building.
Maybe, yeah.
Because, like, he walks in that place. I don't know if you got the vibe, but I was like, oh, that's a hotel room.
I thought it was a hotel room.
Okay, cool.
And I thought that, like...
Anyway, his apartment has tiled walls and it's empty.
And wallpaper.
Yes. So half-tiled walls, I guess?
That's LA.
Yeah, fair.
I thought that it was a hotel room and, like, that's where they leave the money, and then whoever's picking up the money.
Oh, I assumed he was just a nomad. Like, he just had that bag and that was it.
I was just thinking, I thought that bag was full of money. Because I thought that's what the guys had brought out of the...
It probably was. That was probably his cut.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And then the opening credits go, and then it cuts into him during the day drinking coffee in a police uniform. And you're like, oh, that's how he got all of this. And then immediately they're like, so you're an actor.
Yeah.
And you're a stunt driver. And it's like, oh.
Yeah.
That was a cool...
Misdirect,
yeah. Even if it was just for a minute. Oh, also, really cool lighting. In general. Like, the night scenes are lit so well.
Again, heavily inspired by Outrun.
And that's fine. Like, it also...
No, it's a really cool aesthetic to look at.
Yeah,
like,
it reminded me a lot... I haven't seen them, but like Blade Runner. It reminded me of the posters for Blade Runner, and then like Cyberpunk. And I know that Blade Runner and Cyberpunk are hand in hand.
Yes.
For aesthetics. But a lot of the lighting, soft blues and purples.
And really... kind of really well-placed point lighting and really dark shots.
Yes. Just like gorgeous lighting. Yeah. And also Ryan Gosling makes any lighting gorgeous.
Fair. Although in some shots he looks like Dr. Cox.
Yes. So yeah, my note is he's a cop, ? Oh, an actor. Stunt driver. And then he does a stunt drive and it just also Bryan Cranston he coordinates the stunt driving.
Yes.
And the cars.
And also owns a garage?
Yeah. Well, and he organizes the cars. That's what they were saying later on, is that he organizes the crash cars.
Yeah, that's one thing that he complained about is he restores cars, he builds cars. And then he says he takes 6 months to build a car and they wreck it in 6 minutes and don't use the shot in the movie.
Yeah.
So
that's also how he gets cars so easily, is he could probably just say, oh, it's for a shoot. Done and done. And then after the film shoot, Bryan Cranston talks to Mr. Rose. I don't remember his first name. And...
the mobster.
One of the mobsters, yeah. The nicer of the two.
Yeah.
The one that isn't Ron Perlman.
You get the sense that he's not the main guy, but then later in the movie it seems like he maybe is the main guy.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
It's hard to tell.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of unanswered questions in the movie, which I don't think is a bad thing. I just think the way they led the questions were dumb. But yeah, so my note just right there is I hate Mr. Rose. But he's like really talking down to Bryan Cranston for a little bit. And then also he and Ron Perlman just say some kind of racist stuff.
Yeah. Their first lines are racist.
Yeah, it's like you can't repeat it. It's not like it's not going to be bleeped out on television, I don't think.
No, and it does service establishing those characters.
Oh, for sure.
Very well.
I think, yeah, and I think that it's really good character building. But they just use slurs for Jewish people and Chinese people.
Yes.
So you can fill in the gaps yourself. But that's one of the reasons I didn't like them. And then my next note is just Shannon. So I think that's Bryan Cranston's name. So Bryan Cranston's trying to convince the mobsters to invest in
a stock car.
Yeah, a stock car so that they can race, because that's a clean way to do it. And we also at this point don't know they're mobsters.
But like, we're pretty sure. Well,
I didn't know.
I assumed at the very least they were loan sharks.
Yeah, I assumed so too, but I didn't like assume, especially in LA.
Well, and one of the first things, I don't know if you caught it because you were kind of moving around, but one of Ron Perlman's first lines is he walks in and says, "Hey, Shannon, how's the leg?" And Shannon says, "I paid my debt."
He did say that, yeah. But I didn't, I thought it was like separate. I thought they were just meeting in a restaurant kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then I pieced it together, but yeah, when he says he pays his debt, it's like, oh, that's no good.
Yeah.
So he wants to meet Ryan Gosling first, see how he drives.
In a circle. For whatever reason.
And, well, I think he liked him as a person because
everyone seems to, despite the fact that he gives off these intensely creepy murder vibes the entire movie.
I think that's just you. If Ryan Gosling looked at me like that,
if you
done, hello,
no,
you may murder me now.
But not like, aside from that, pretend that it's just a relatively attractive person, and you are going to talk about a business deal, and they do not speak or shake your hand.
He shakes his hand.
Only after being forced to speak about why he's not shaking his hand.
Yeah, but I think mobsters especially, they like people that don't talk.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I think he did like him, but I don't understand why.
Well, and especially because
everyone in this movie was so cool about him.
Yeah.
The way he acted.
Well, and then also, Bryan Cranston's character really vouched for Ryan Gosling,
mm-hmm.
which helped because Shannon, Bryan Cranston, and the mobster, they go way back. So if anyone is like, if anyone's word's gonna count, it's gonna be it's gonna be Shannon's. So I think that helped.
And they did talk a little bit about their history, and it seemed like there was.
So yeah, the mobster says, so they're asking for 430,000, which is a very specific number, but the mobster Mr. Rose agrees to 300,000
for a 70% stake in the operation,
which is
a lot.
Fine. But Bryan Cranston's also convinced that they're going to make millions. So
yeah,
being able to get off the ground, because he was saying also that the business only made 30,000. So getting that much money, getting 10 times what you made in the last year for 70%, I don't think it's a smart business move, but if you're convinced you're going to make $1 million and you can get 10 times more than you made in the last year, like, that's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to split it with the driver, but still, that's a lot of money. My next note, so then he meets the girl. She's got a kid. There's a lot of staring. My notes also say silly bands.
Yeah.
Because it was 2011.
I don't know. Did they meet in the elevator first, and then her car was broken down at the grocery store?
Yes.
And that whole time, no one spoke.
Yeah.
Just intense leering.
I think that their chemistry was really good, though.
Yeah, I mean...
So to me, it didn't feel awkward at all.
It felt very uncomfortable to me.
Well...
And I'm someone who's fine sitting in silence.
Yeah.
But, like, I guess it was the eye contact. I know. I've already talked to a professional about that.
And then my next note is Ryan Gosling with a bunch of hearts after.
Yes.
Because
which is why we're not doing another Ryan Gosling
At
movie.
one point, he just leaned against the wall, and I was like, howdy. It was a good shot. And it was also...
It also came after him being, like, really weird.
To you.
No, like, he's a guest in their house and not speaking or answering her questions.
She didn't ask any questions.
She asked a bunch of questions. He answered them with one word. What do you do?
Well, he
Drive.
answered them.
Oh, what? Like limos? No. In the movies.
That's several words.
I'm just saying.
4.
If you were, like, if that was a Tinder conversation, you would have unmatched at that point.
If they look like Ryan Gosling. Again, I am not saying that I would have tried very hard after that, but I would have kept messaging them. I would have asked a more open-ended question.
Fine.
Like, I'm still in sales. Like, I know how to ask open-ended questions.
Yeah, but...
And again, Ryan Gosling, he's also got, to me, at the beginning anyway, he had a very harmless energy. And I think he turns that on very well.
It's the smile.
It's the smile. He's got a great smile.
He has a coy
He's
smile.
a heartthrob for a reason.
Because he was cast in a movie because he was, quote, not traditionally handsome.
And those are my favorites.
I don't know how someone looks at him and goes, that guy's not traditionally handsome.
He's blonde instead of brunette.
Anyway.
With big blue eyes. Nah. I don't get it. Maybe it's because he was a little rugged.
No, he's not.
In the Notebook. In bits of it, he's a little rugged.
Extremely clean cut.
In parts of it, he's got like a 5 o'clock shadow.
Okay.
He is great. No, I don't get that either. So eventually he kind of works his way into a date with Irene.
And
it's super like open-ended.
It's
too.
open-ended, and the nature of their relationship is also left open-ended the whole time.
Yeah, like they held hands.
But also, and I think this is important,
with her wedding ring. Oh, also her husband's in jail. We should mention that.
Yeah, Oscar Isaac is in prison this whole time.
Her husband is in prison.
What I think it's important to note is left open-ended is the time frame.
I do have a note that says...
It passes really quickly for us. Like, it's maybe a few scenes.
But it's been a while.
But, yeah, they become pretty deeply ingrained in each other's lives. So either they do that really quickly, or...
Yeah, and then there's also things like the car. They didn't go down the street to buy that. That was going to take time.
Yeah.
Because they have that in between the, like, meeting... and kind of developing the relationship.
Are you talking about his car?
I'm talking about the racing car.
Oh, yeah.
The stock car. Like, that's going to take some time to build.
I think he already had it picked out. Because that's why he had such a specific number in mind. Was he knew...
But then he got $130,000 less.
Yeah, but he's going to have to take that out of what he's going to do to the car. That probably wasn't the base price of the car, because that would be insane.
Fair. So anyway, it still takes time and whatever.
Yeah, but you get a feeling like it happened quickly, but also the way that they interact is pretty developed.
Yeah. My notes 2 down are time is fast and loose. And I think that that's fine.
Yeah, it's an hour and a half.
It keeps it pretty
movie.
ambiguous. And then also LA has 1 season.
Yeah. But that's true.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
So it also helps with the, like, you don't know what time of year it is. You don't know how much time has passed.
Well, it's basketball season.
Well.
You know that.
You don't. Because that's at the very beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
And when was that?
Fair.
So, because you don't know how much time has passed in between each thing. So, they're doing a lot of staring at each other, and they're getting really close, and there's a lot of just...
He watches cartoons with the kid.
He's really good with the kid, that he takes them for rides and stuff in his car.
Down to the LA River, which is objectively the worst river in the world.
I would say so.
It's mostly concrete.
It is, yeah. And they just play in the river, and he really shows like a soft and caring side to both of them. And that's also one of the, like, especially with moms, you show that you're good with their kid. That's it. So that also helps. And her husband's, it's pretty ambiguous how long he's been in prison.
Also what he did.
They don't
really talk about that.
So,
like, is he a violent dude? Is he not? You don't know.
Yeah, you don't know. He couldn't have been in prison for more than 10 years.
Probably.
How old was that kid? I would say like 8. I don't know. Here's the problem.
Yeah, 8-ish.
One thing I realized the other
I'd say
day.
8 to 11.
I wouldn't say he was 11. 11-year-olds I feel like are taller than that. But I don't know. I realized the other day when people... Like, I always thought it was so cool when people thought I was older than I was when I was a kid. Turns out, I don't know what kids look like. Like, You could show me a 5-year-old and a 10-year-old. I would probably tell you they're both 7.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Good news, that doesn't get any better.
So, now I get it. Why people were like, how old are you now? It's like, come on. It was not obvious. And everyone
I'm very
thought,
clearly 8 3/4. Can't you tell?
Come on. Well, I always thought it was obvious just because, well, like, when I was in middle school, someone asked me what my major was, and I thought that was the coolest thing. And looking back, I think she might have done that on purpose because she knew I loved that. Yeah. Because it was someone I interacted with, like, a few times a year.
That's why I used to ID old people at the bar.
I did that at GameStop, and they almost never got it. And, like, I helped a 92-year-old woman. I was like, can I see your ID, ma'am? And she was like, what? It's like, I gotta ask if you look under 30. And she was like, but I don't look under 30. I was like...
Okay, you've aged out of humor.
It's like,
that's fine.
Okay, great. And then her daughter or whatever was like... Or I think it was her granddaughter was like, Grandma, come on. She's trying to be sweet. Which I thought was funny. But on one of their dates, because it's a different date.
Probably.
She's wearing something different. Which also, she wears like the same 3 outfits in that montage though. Like the outfits are very similar, I'll say.
I did not notice. He wears the same jacket.
He wears the same jacket. She was wearing red. I don't know if that's significant or if really I was...
Oh, come on. We're not English teachers.
I used to be an English major.
I know.
I was a film English major.
That's the worst.
You're telling me. Hey, I wrote a movie. I wrote the first act of a movie.
I started a novel once.
Didn't we all? We were all in early high school.
Wait,
once.
have we lived the same life up to this point?
I hope not. No offense to you.
Fair. Anyway.
I was about to make a dead dad joke.
I was a philosophy major.
And I think that's why...
That's objectively worse.
That is. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. There's no question about it. So on one of their dates, she's getting ready and she gets a phone call. And then in the car, she says, that was my husband's lawyer. He's coming home in a week. Mm-hmm. And then
it's a week later.
Like, literally, the scene, he's at home tinkering with things. For a second, you think, okay, he's at home tinkering with this so he can process that he's coming home soon. No, down the hallway, they're having a welcome home party for him. And it's loud.
And he gives an odd speech.
I think it's a very come home from prison speech. Like, I am here, I'm going to do better. Thank you for sticking with me. I have a lot of making up to do. Yeah. It was fine. Also, Oscar Isaac, all caps. That's my next note. Yes. Oh, I also said the soundtrack is kind of whack, but kind of good.
I liked it, except for that one song that played a few times.
Honestly, all of them sounded the same to me. But anyway, The next note I wrote is, "Oh no, he's bad." Because in that, like...
So they have an intense kind of
speech,
standoff.
Yeah, but in that speech, you're like, oh, he really just messed something up. He's done his time. He's over it. He's really here to make a difference. And then he goes, sizes off Ryan Gosling.
And it's... But, like, okay, I don't think that scene was meant to make him out to be a bad guy.
Oh, no.
I think it's just, like, that's...
I don't think that was when I wrote the note.
That's probably the reaction anyone would have in that situation.
Yeah, when you find your wife making sweet eyes at Ryan Gosling, you're going to be like, hey. Also, I was confused because I had said earlier in the movie, I would risk it all for Ryan Gosling. So why is she still married? And then it was Oscar Isaac, and I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Part 2, she's cute, but I don't know that she's so cute she can pull both of those men. So, especially because, well, and Carolee had said, well, maybe she has a good personality. We've been watching this movie for like 45 minutes. We've seen zero personality so far.
Yeah.
Maybe it's only like half an hour. I would say...
She's probably a diner waitress, judging from the vest, but that was never verified either.
It was. She had a Denny's name tag.
Did she?
Yes.
I just never saw that name tag.
That's how I knew her name was Irene. Oh, you were in the bathroom.
Oh, yeah, that's why.
But you came back for part of that scene. Whatever. But then Ryan Gosling's coming home from the shop at one point, and he basically sees Oscar Isaac getting beat up. And
having been beat up.
Yeah, he chases the other guy, or
heaped
he
on the
watches
floor,
the other,
covered in blood.
Yeah. And also the kid was watching. So he's like taking it kind of personal. Ryan Gosling is.
Yeah. And Oscar Isaac's character was saying, like, don't tell your mom.
Don't tell your mom. This is our little secret.
Yeah.
And then also one of the guys, like, gave the kid a bullet. So Ryan Gosling talks to Oscar Isaac in the bathroom, and he's like, what's the deal? Yeah. Essentially, he kind of coaxes out of Oscar Isaac that he owes those thugs money. And
an undetermined amount of money,
because it keeps going up every time they talk about it, and whatever. So Ryan Gosling offers to help him, really, because, well, he goes out and talks to the kid, and the kid hands him a bullet and says that one of those guys gave it to him. So now he feels a personal vendetta against these guys because he really wants that kid and Irene to be safe.
Yeah.
Because over this undetermined amount of time, he's really grown to love them, really.
Yeah.
And my next note is, well, Oscar Isaac always dies. So let's talk about that a little bit.
So the job is they're going to rob a pawn shop. I don't remember in what neighborhood, but they did say.
A rough neighborhood. On the south side or something.
Yeah. It's out in that desert-looking part of LA.
Oh, also, unrelated. We talked about this on our Cyberpunk episode. It's in California. They mention California so much.
In Cyberpunk?
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew that. It's LA.
Yeah, I didn't know that at the time.
Yeah.
When we talked about it, you're like, I think it's California because I think that's supposed to be the pier. And we were both like, maybe. And then I was playing it more and I was like, oh, they say California like 5 times. But I've also been playing it a lot lately. That's unrelated. I'll send you that little snippet and then you can clip it over me saying, I don't know where it is.
You know what? Let's force listeners to go listen to both episodes.
It's an interconnected universe.
It is. This is the C3U.
Oh, God. So the job is to go and steal some money with the girl from Mad Men and
Christina Hendricks.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's just we only know actors' names in this, so
I don't even know all their names, but I know most of them. So he goes in. Ryan Gosling gives the same speech as before. You've got 5 minutes. I'll do whatever you need until that time's up. Then while the 2 people are in there, another car drives up. Ryan Gosling's on edge. He's looking around. He knows something's up. Mm-hmm. The redhead gets into the car. What was her name? I've already forgotten it.
Christina Hendricks.
Christina Hendricks, you said? Mm-hmm. She comes in with the bag of money. Everything's going really well.
And for this operation, they chose a Mustang, which is a formidable car. It's fast. It's heavy. Doesn't turn so well, but that's whatever. But it's a 2-seater. Well, no, it has 4 seats, but you have to fold one up to get in the back.
But they also...
It's a 2-door. So
it's a 2-door, but they also...
So for an operation where someone might be running and jumping into the car, maybe 2 people at the same time, I just feel like I would have gone with a sedan.
I would have, but they also... It really felt like it felt like a well-oiled machine the way he did it. He opened the door, he moved the seat up, she got everything in, they got the seat down. Super smooth and quick. Unlike me, the last time I got out of a 2-door Mustang, I, fell.
Yeah.
So, that's all to say. It seems like maybe they practiced it. I don't know.
So anyway, Oscar Isaac comes running out of the pawn shop.
Well, he comes walking out calmly. He puts his gun back in his pocket, the back of his pants. And then he gets shot through the window.
Yeah. And then a couple more times.
And a few more times, yeah. He gets shot 4 or 5 times after that.
Yeah.
And that one shot would have done it. It was in an important artery, you can see, because he, his eyes are big. He's having trouble processing.
I don't know that it verified that he did get hit in the neck. I don't even know.
Well, because he put his hand on his neck, and it was bleeding.
I don't know. Maybe.
Either way, he's super dead because he gets shot
a bunch of times.
6 times. So everybody freaks out. Everybody in the car, Ryan Gosling and Christina Hendricks, they freak out, rightfully so. And so they peel out of there. And so does the 300. Chase. It was an okay car chase.
Excellent recall on that.
Yeah.
Did you write that down or?
No.
Interesting. Good job. Yeah.
Oh, I just know 300s really well.
Oh, okay.
Well, I like cars. I'm not into cars. Well, I am. I'm into British cars.
Those are the worst cars to be into.
But they're pretty.
Sometimes.
When they run, those babies purr.
Yeah, for a few minutes.
No, I've been playing, my favorite car game is Forza Horizon, where it's all British. It's not all British cars, but there's a bunch of bits where they're like, this is the best British car. So I just know a lot about British cars because I've probably 80% of that game because that's just my go-to. I want to play something, but what? Game. It's a great game. Yeah. I paid $0 for it because Norman's the best.
Anywho.
So
they do a short car chase. Really short.
Really short. I would say maybe 2 minutes, but that feels long.
Yeah.
And it's fine. It's again showing how clever he is and how well versed he is in driving.
Yeah, he made a Mustang go around a corner.
He did.
It was awesome.
And he flips the 300. But he doesn't flip it, but he tricks it into flipping. I learned to drive in a Ford Fusion and a 300.
Okay.
And though the 300s are hard to drive, they're fast.
Yeah.
But they're a lot to handle. You have to know how to drive.
Yeah.
I was 15 and I didn't. So that was fun. But that's to say, I believe that part was very realistic to me.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Then my next note is a lot more than $40K because they were saying that it was just a $40,000 job.
So after
they get
the
to
car
a hotel
chase,
room. Yeah.
They go to a hotel room. He slaps a woman.
Well, they open the bag of money. It's a ton of money. So they're supposed to get... Yeah. And they don't say that until later, but they're supposed to get $40,000. They open the bag and it's got tons of bundles, and all the bundles are $10K. So, I mean, it's $1 million. So he thinks that Christina Hendricks is holding out on him. So, and she's also hysterical because she did almost die and watched someone die. Mm-hmm. So he slaps her. Super cool. He puts on his gloves first as to not leave fingerprints, I guess.
Yeah.
That none of that is
it's to protect his
important.
Hands.
Yeah. He slaps her. And he really is intimidating. He gets on top of her and holds down her face and
covers her mouth because she's screaming.
Yeah. And also he's really showing that her life is in his hands, so she's gonna answer his questions.
Yes, which she does.
Basically just getting the information that she didn't know she knew it was a setup, but she didn't know someone was gonna die. She didn't know it was gonna be so much money.
Yeah.
Da-da-da-da.
They were meant to be
held up
on the way
by the 300, but they didn't expect him to be such a good driver. No one was supposed to die. Whatever. And then she was like, then he said, okay, well, who's your boss and where is he? You're going to take him to me. You're going to tell me who he is. So
it's
she agrees.
It's the guy that he met. He just doesn't know his name. So he gets his name.
And she agrees. She goes to the bathroom to kind of clean herself up. And then her head blows up.
Yeah. Then
that's gnarly. Those effects were
and it looked mostly practical. It looked really good.
It looked practical. It was gross.
Yeah.
Her head explodes.
There's a lot of really visceral gore in this.
A lot of it.
There's not a lot of gore.
I thought this was a movie. Well, yeah, but when there is gore, it's all out.
Yeah.
And again, I thought this was just Baby Driver, a similar feel to Baby Driver.
It is not.
Where when, spoiler alert for Baby Driver, when people get killed, they get shot, and you see them get shot,
and then
but there's not really a lot of blood. That's just they're out, or they get hit by a car, and that sucks.
Yeah.
I think one guy burns. I don't remember. It's been a minute since I've watched it. It's not gory. It's super violent, but it's not gory. And then this one, a woman's head blows up.
Yeah.
As the second kill.
Yeah. And he throws up a mattress to protect himself, which worked in the context of the shot. Mm-hmm. But I don't think at close range a mattress would stop a shotgun.
Maybe a motel mattress.
You never know what that could contain.
That's what I'm saying. So
he takes some shrapnel to the shoulder.
Yeah, and he notices also that he kind of everything kind of clicks at once, and so he's able to protect himself. And her head blows up, and then he takes out the guy. Well, he goes into the bathroom. So he's got the shotgun. He waits around the corner for the guy in the bathroom. He takes the shotgun, pushes him back into the bathroom, takes the shower rod, and stabs him over and over. And it's whoa!
Yep.
Oh!
And then he shoots the other guy.
And it's well... Oh. Yep. And you kind of see in his eye, at least I saw it, that it was a point of no return for him.
Yeah.
And although you said you were getting that vibe the whole time.
Yeah, well, there's also it's kind of a classic trope of action movies where you have the hero going clean who doesn't want to be a part of that life anymore, but they're really good at it and they get forced into it. One of the other movies I wanted to watch tonight has the same thing. The main character doesn't do guns through the whole movie until he has to, and then he's very good with guns. And it seemed like that kind of thing where I got the vibe the whole time that this is not the first time he's done this. Yeah, kind of like Hot Fuzz.
Hot Fuzz is the perfect movie.
You get the vibe from the beginning that he's done this before, and he's got no real moral issues with killing people that cross him.
And to be fair, this was definitely self-defense.
Yeah.
So those weren't really an issue.
There's
for
only
me.
really one that I would say in this movie that you couldn't really call self-defense.
I think there were a couple, but we'll get there. So my notes are, that's 2 bodies once her head explodes. And then 2 seconds later, that's 4. And then the next note I have is, that's a lot of boobies.
Yeah. Okay,
so
that
he goes to a strip club to find the guy that set him up.
Yeah.
And really, I think only a few of the girls react the way that anyone would in that situation, which is to run away.
Well,
the rest of the girls just kind of sit there. And I understand they're scared or whatever. And also, they're so vulnerable. Their boobs are out.
That could also be construed as like,
that happens a lot around there.
They're just used to seedy behavior.
Yeah. And Ryan Gosling, he breaks this guy's arm right away. And he's got a hammer. He takes the bullet and he makes it look like a nail. So he's like, all right, you're going to tell me everything I want to know or this is over. He even raises the hammer at one point.
With the bullet, like, pressed against the guy's temple.
Yeah.
Or in his mouth or on his forehead. It depends on the shot.
Yeah, it kind of, to me, it looked like it was, like, right above his eye.
Yeah.
Because that would be, like, anything will go through your eye if you put a hammer next to it. So if you bring a hammer onto it, he tells him what he wants to know, really, and then he gets... Which
is the name of the person who organized the job.
Bum, bum, bum. It's the guy from earlier.
Ron
it's one
Perlman.
of the guys. Yeah, it's the Ron Perlman from earlier. So not the guy that he's been working directly with, but he's worked with him.
But the guy who says really weird things about cars.
Yeah, he does. So I don't know that he realizes it right away. It's kind of hard to tell.
I don't think he does
it's
until they get on the phone.
Yeah, and it's also a big reveal to the audience. Like, oh, it's all connected, and like, ah, crap, this is going to make it even more complicated, whatever. So he goes home. He talks to Irene. He tells her straight up, like, this was the job. It wasn't supposed to go this way.
Okay, there's a couple of things I really love about this movie, and that's one of them. Because every movie should be 20 minutes long if people communicated the way humans actually communicate.
This is after you're saying that they didn't say anything to each other for the first bit of the movie.
But the conflict of most movies could be resolved by just talking like humans do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I can't remember what we were watching recently. But it was a really dramatic thing where...
Probably Bly Manor or something. If me and you were watching it.
No, it was us.
Oh, okay.
It was something where... Actually, it might have been Miles Morales. That might be what I'm thinking of.
Nah.
I won't spoil it then.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Because my PlayStation keeps crashing. Anyway.
But there's a moment in that game where you're like, oh, come on. Really? That's how you're going to handle this?
I mean, to be fair, he's a kid.
Even still.
But yeah, he's straight up with her, which I did like. I did like that he did that. She slaps him, and I think that's fair. And then they get into the elevator. It's a guy that was in the last shot that was talking to Nino. That you just are supposed to remember, this generic brunette man.
I didn't remember him, but he stands in a way that you're like, oh, this guy's bad news.
Yeah, and he's got bad guy hair.
He's got bad guy hair, and he's got a bad guy suit.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like,
especially for that apartment building.
If you're wearing a boldish colored shirt under a flat colored suit with no tie, you are a bad guy. That's
top button unbuttoned.
Top button unbuttoned. Maybe a gold chain, maybe not.
That could be overkill. I think it would have been overkill for this guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ryan Gosling, he's trying to talk to Irene. She's like, I gotta get to work. And he's like, okay, let me walk you down then so that I can tell you what's going on. He tells her, and they get in the elevator with this bad guy.
Which he wasn't going to get in the elevator until he saw this guy.
Correct. He really goes to protect Irene. He looks over, he sees a gun in the guy. He's got like a holster in his side, like a cop holster is the best way I can describe it.
It's a shoulder holster.
That's what it's called. I don't know anything. I just know that
there
cops
are better words for it too.
I bet. It doesn't feel right, but whatever.
Detectives wear them because they wear suits.
Yes.
But not in Texas. They wear polos out here. Do you know that? Do you know our detectives wear athletic polos? Anyway,
that makes more sense.
Only because it's so hot, but
yeah.
Still.
Well, based on the cop shows I have seen, you do a lot of running around as a detective. Lots of chases.
If I was a detective, I'd do a lot of hanging out in seedy bars.
You do that anyway when there's not a pandemic.
I wouldn't say there's any seedy bars here. Anyway.
Okay.
There's a seedy dance hall.
I don't like that one bar you guys took me to.
Which one?
The one over by San Martian.
Oh, Grey Horse?
Yeah.
I love Grey Horse. What are you talking about?
That's a seedy bar. If you can smoke inside it,
It's dope.
I think it's seedy.
They've got darts and no one talks to you. It's awesome.
That bartender wouldn't leave me alone.
Well, I don't have that issue.
Yeah, I do. But this might come out the wrong way. But look at you and look at me.
That did come out the wrong way.
I'm sorry. What I'm saying is I'm extremely cute, and you're only like average cute.
Hold on.
Anyway, let's just move on.
A girl in a bar is gonna get more attention, and that's just especially.
I don't know. I feel like if I was a bartender, I would give him all of my attention.
Yeah, you like him a lot, though.
That's true.
This.
I'd give him free drinks.
This lady was also fed up with me because I was like, I don't know what I want yet. Can I just have a water? So she kept checking on me to give her money. It's like, yeah, I'll get there.
Money for water.
No,
She gets a shot.
that's the point. She kept coming back to see if she was going to buy something yet.
Because I didn't know yet. Because I didn't know if I was going to drink. Whatever. That's
Curse.
not the important.
That's the only thing they have there.
I'll tip you if I want.
The guy goes to pull out. Well, okay, no. Ryan Gosling like pushes Irene behind him to get him in between
And then they make
Irene
out
and the
a
bad
little bit.
guy. They make out a little bit.
And they do some crazy stuff with the lighting in this elevator during this makeout scene.
Yes. Again, the lighting was pretty good. I liked it.
Yeah.
And I thought that was also just a really sweet moment. I think, well, I don't think it was a great moment.
I think we interpreted it differently as well. Because I interpret it as almost like a distraction. The way, like, maybe like a last-ditch effort to avoid a confrontation. But then
I don't
you
know,
saw
because
that
he
wasn't
immediately
gonna happen.
turns around to face the guy.
Yeah.
But Carolee and I saw it as like a
goodbye.
a goodbye, because
Like, this doesn't end well for me.
the next moment, he knows that everything's going to change.
Yeah, then
Because, well, and she seems like into it. It also goes on too long.
it does.
Which is, like, because the slow-mo in the movie
I'd
is
say misused.
weirdly, yeah. Like, just, there's only, like, 3 shots that is, they flipped a car, and they didn't slow-mo that. They flipped
No,
2 cars.
But they slow-mo him standing in a window at an Italian restaurant.
They do. It's just weird. It's like, fine, whatever. Anyway, so he gets the guy before he can reach his gun, throws him to the ground, beats him, and then doesn't stop. He keeps he could have kicked one more time, knocked him out, and run, but he kicks his head in. Like, his head
Completely.
is flat,
And it shows it as a practical effect.
which is cool.
Yeah.
Like Walking Dead zombie caved in head. Like, this guy's done. And then he turns around, and Irene just gets out of the elevator, staring at him like, "Who are you?"
Yeah.
Then the elevator closes, and it's like, "Yeah, bye." I love Ryan Gosling. We've established. If I watched him do that, I would leave too.
Well, he also, right before that, he was like,
He was
they're
also-
coming for you.
And then also he was like, "Also, I was with your husband when he died. It's
Yeah.
a little bit I was involved, so don't worry about it." And then watched him cave a man's head in.
Yeah, exactly.
So that was my next note was 5 because I was doing a body count. Take it from here. I don't remember where it goes.
So after that, he goes.
So I'll go. Sorry, my list. So that was 5. Then the rest of my list is 6, 7, 9, 10.
Yeah, that's pretty much where it goes from there. So he goes and confronts Bryan Cranston's character and asks how they knew where he lived, because we don't know who
and
that
how they
guy
knew
was
about
there
her.
for. Yeah, and he tells him that he told them about her because he wanted to convey the point that once the money was given back to whoever it was supposed to go to, Ryan Gosling was done. Like, he wasn't looking for money, and he wasn't looking to drag this out. He just wanted to be done with it.
Yeah, at one point, Ron Perlman asks what he gets out of it, and Ryan Gosling says, "That's it, to get out." So,
fine. Like, I get that that's what he was trying to do. Makes sense.
I think it makes sense, but he really puts everybody in danger when he does that, and
Also,
because he didn't think about it.
That guy whose hand Ryan Gosling broke, he dies.
He gets stabbed
in
a lot.
the eye and then the neck.
And then he gets gouged in the neck, I would even say.
Yeah, pretty aggressive.
Like, he does it 3 times and slices.
And we should say this is by the bad guys because he failed, basically. And it's the mob.
Yeah. Oh, and that's also when we learn it's the mob.
Yeah, and there's infighting because that money belonged to the East Coast mob, and they're on the West Coast. And Ron Perlman had heard that they were going to use it to start a rival operation, so he had it stolen to prevent that, and could have potentially upset
He could have started a mob war.
Yeah.
Because $1 million is not chump change for anybody except Jeff Bezos.
And he did this all without telling the other mobster.
Yeah.
So there's kind of some infighting there now, which is fine. So then Ryan Gosling goes to...
After Nino, Ron Perlman.
So he goes to the movie set where he was working and takes a hyper-realistic rubber mask that he was using to double an actor.
Yeah, because he's the stunt driver for a bald actor.
Yes.
Which...
And it's...
I don't know that that's how they'd really do it, but I'm also not...
Of everything...
I'm a film school dropout, so I wouldn't know.
That is how they do it, at least.
I would just think like a bald cap, or get someone that's already bald.
Well, they do that, and then they touch it up digitally, but now digital has gotten so good that most of the time they can just do that. So, but there is a space for that, especially if it's going to be a shot where you don't see the face that much. Like, that's definitely something they would do.
Well, yeah, and then also, like, they had a bunch of safety gear in the car, so it was very obvious they weren't really gonna see into the car.
Yeah.
Whatever.
No police car has Sparko seats.
All I'm saying is they could have just put a bald cap on him.
Yes, they could have. But,
instead of this whole rubber mask thing.
Of everything that this movie has done up to this point, which is a few pretty gruesome murders, that shot of him standing in the window with the mask stalking his next target is the thing that sticks with me the most from this movie.
Really?
Yeah. I think it's almost...
It's pretty creepy.
It's creepy, and it's almost a... Like, it speaks
symbolic
to me...
of him really going into this other self.
Yeah. It's the moment where you stop kind of aligning yourself with this character, and you realize this guy's...
I stopped aligning myself the moment he kept kicking. Like, the second and third kick, I was like...
But, like...
I don't know about that.
Double tap, you know?
Sure. He could have stopped at 3 kicks then. But we saw him kick him, like, blood spurting up, getting on his jacket that he doesn't wash the rest of the movie.
I think in that situation, not that I am equating this in any way to my real life.
I hope not, because I will leave.
If I were to imagine being in that situation, I feel like the adrenaline would completely take over. Like,
and if I was there, I would
don't
snap you
think
back
he-
to reality. I'd be like, hey, done. You're stop.
That's good.
Stop.
I don't think he made any of those decisions to keep going.
But at the same time, I don't think adrenaline will take over you that much.
You'd be surprised.
I think it was inherently there, too. Well, for his character especially, I think it was inherently in him.
Yeah.
So
he gets the mask, goes to the Italian restaurant where
he's having a party.
the guy is having a party, and also he owns it.
Yeah. And also, there's just such a funny shot. I think I snorted. Like, I just giggled so hard at it. Because Ron Perlman's laughing so hard at something standing next to a woman who does not look like she wants to be there. She actually, in fact, looks like she doesn't want to be there.
Yeah.
And it just got me because she just, like, I've been there. Like, that's, like, you have to make these people laugh or happy or whatever. Well, yeah, just like in customer service when you're like...
Yeah.
I just thought it was a really funny shot. And then also just the juxtaposition of the shot was really funny. But, you know, I also thought it was kind of bold because, like, it's like, at least pretend like you want to be there. He could... I've seen him kill people. Like...
Well, no. He never killed anyone.
I've seen him order deaths.
Yeah. So also, Bryan Cranston gets killed.
This is after that, though.
Was it?
Mm-hmm.
I think it was during this.
Yeah, the shots are one after the other, but it's essentially the same time. So
Ryan Gosling follows this guy from the restaurant.
And his driver.
Gets him out to the open road, runs the car off onto the beach, which we assume killed the driver.
Well, next to a cliff, and then he comes out of nowhere and T-bones them, flips the car onto the beach, upside down.
Yeah.
And we assume that kills the driver.
Then he drowns Ron Perlman in the ocean, which for some reason he just ran out to the ocean. But, you know, whatever. So, while this is happening, Bryan Cranston's character is killed. The other mobster guy takes a straight razor and slits vertically down his arm. You know.
It's a really gruesome, and it's also like a really sad scene because you have never once hated Bryan Cranston's character.
Yeah, and they set
soul.
a pretense that they're on good terms and that they're friends.
Yeah, he's friends with like practically everybody in the movie so far.
You get the distinct feeling that it really is nothing personal. Like,
yeah, and I think
a lot of this movie feels really personal, and this particular scene does not.
And also, he was saying, like, the pain's over, it's not going to hurt anymore, you're going to be fine. Like, it felt like, of all the ways that people died in this movie, this one was probably one of the least painful.
Yeah.
Because he really did care about his friend, but also he couldn't keep living.
So then we get to the phone call, and he says, you know, where's my money? Ryan Gosling's like, look, just take it.
Well, and he goes and finds... Well, and one of the worst parts, too, in that moment is the money was there in the garage. It was in the car, in the garage, that Bryan Cranston dies in front of.
Yeah.
So the mobster was in the same room as the money.
Yeah.
Which I think that was also a really good shot of just him finding Bryan Cranston and then opening right there. Like, it was right there. Just
right
take
behind
it.
him.
Yeah.
Like he was leaning on it.
Yeah.
So they talk on the phone. They agree to meet and exchange the money and talk about terms.
Yeah.
So they meet at a Chinese restaurant called The Wall.
Because it's also established earlier in the movie, he loves Chinese food.
Yes. They meet there. They talk. He says, no one knows about the girl except me. She can stay out of this if you give me the money. I can't promise the same for you. You're going to have to give me the money and turn around and don't look back. Just keep moving. So, fine. They go out to the car. he opens the trunk and hands over the bag and just is immediately stabbed.
Right in the tummy.
And then he immediately stabs the other guy. Around the neck, it looked like.
Well, and that's another shot that I really liked, because you see his arm rearing back to stab him, and then it goes to just their shadows.
Yeah.
Against the pavement. And I thought that was really clever. And so especially for like that's the final death.
There's a little bit of ambiguity as to who's winning this, because one character is still standing.
Well, you can tell. It's very subtle. Yeah, you can see
Yeah.
the gloves. And also, they had different hair. Ryan Gosling
Yeah.
just has Ryan Gosling hair. So his shadow's kind of recognizable. But it is one of those, like, it still could be the other way.
And I think that would have been a good shot to end on.
Yeah, I think so too.
But they didn't.
They didn't. And then at this same time is when Irene goes to... Well, no. He calls her.
He calls her before he goes to the meetup because he knows that it's not going to go well.
Yeah. He's like, hey, I just wanted to tell you this was the best... You guys were the best thing to ever happen to me, blah, blah, blah.
Right. Very heartfelt.
Very heartfelt. She doesn't say anything.
I thought that was a message on the answering machine. It might not have been. I just thought that.
It could be. I don't know. It doesn't matter. I think if she had him on the phone, if she didn't in that moment, she still wouldn't have said anything.
Yeah.
But so like as this is happening, basically she's going up to his door. Or I guess it's right after.
So after that shot, she goes up to his door after the final death. She goes up to his door, and it cuts to a shot of him in the driver's seat of a car that you can tell he was in the middle of hot wiring. And he's not moving. He's not doing great because he just got stabbed.
That's another thing that I like, is that he didn't blink for so long. You don't know if he's like dead.
Yeah.
Which I thought was really just really good.
But eventually he does blink, and you see the car drive off. And that's the other thing that I really liked about this movie, is that it doesn't end with him getting the girl and them driving off together and, deciding to face this all together. He leaves because that's what's best for everyone. He doesn't say anything to her. He doesn't say bye. She shows up at his door and he's not there. He's just gone.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean...
And then it ends.
And then it's over. Yeah.
And I didn't like it. I don't know if I didn't... I just didn't like the feeling. I haven't really... we finished recording, we ate some garlic bread, and then we finished watching it, we ate some garlic bread, and then we started recording.
Yeah.
So I haven't really had time to really sit on it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I'll watch this again. I won't watch this again.
I haven't watched it in the last 9 years.
10, buddy.
Oof.
I won't watch it again. It left an uneasy feeling in my tummy. But that was also the point.
Yeah, and I think that's why I did like it. Was it is intentionally unsettling.
I wanted to watch something fun. That's what I decided at the beginning of the movie. It's fine. I think because I thought it was going to be so fun and then it was not, that it's like, oh. And then also to me, it felt like it didn't commit for a while on what kind of movie it was. Which...
I don't know. I didn't get that vibe.
Well, just because it felt like a rom-com and then it felt... Or not like a rom-com, but it felt like a heist and then a romantic thing and then... It was action.
I think... I don't know who directed this. I'd like to.
Well, good.
But it gives off
Good
a
news.
very distinct foreign film vibe.
I don't know this guy's last name. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Well, we'll try.
No.
So foreign.
It's Denmark.
It was made in Denmark?
No.
Or it's Danish?
The director is Danish.
Okay. It gives off a really distinct foreign film vibe in that
foreign films are never happy endings.
Well, yeah, because this sense of American optimism isn't shared the world over. Americans need to have things tied up in a pretty little happy ending bow. And this didn't do that. And I think that's why I like it as much as I do. I'm not saying I'd like for more things to be like that. I just think,
Yeah.
This was neat. It was deliberately kind of a bummer.
So the Malibu is the car that he drives around most of the time. He drives a Malibu. I'm reading the trivia on IMDb.
Okay.
But there was an Impala.
I think that's reversed.
It's not.
Because I don't think the Malibu is old enough to be the car that he drives around on his own.
It's a 1973 Chevy Malibu.
Okay. Well, I stand corrected.
You sit, but yes. Yeah, I thought it was fine, and I enjoyed watching it, but
I think objectively it is good. I don't know that it's enjoyable, but I think it is objectively good.
I'll give a rating. I think it's like a 7 out of 10.
Okay. Better than Hot Rod.
Better than Hot Rod. It would be better if there were more quotable lines.
There are no lines.
There are no lines.
At least not ones that we can say on a podcast.
The head stomp scene was severely edited because of the ratings board.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. How is it rated critically?
78. And 7.8. So pretty consistently. Fine.
I mean, that's a B-ish.
It's a C plus. So one thing that I will say, I knew Oscar Isaac was gonna die because I just remember seeing an interview with him when, I guess this is a kind of spoiler for the new Star Wars trilogy. Poe Dameron was supposed to die, but Oscar Isaac went up to JJ and was like, dude, my character always dies. Could I please live? Like, I don't care if you write me out. I just don't want to die. And so he's in the whole trilogy. So that's one of the things that I knew he was going to die.
Yeah.
The driver was supposed to die.
Yeah. You get that impression that the ending was kind of changed. I don't know. Overall, I like it. I'll check back in another 10 years and see how I feel about it.
That's how I feel about it.
Yeah. I mean, it was fine. If you're looking for that kind of movie...
Body count 10, baby. I counted correct.
If you're looking for a slightly depressing, sometimes action, sometimes thriller... Perfect.
I think it's fine. I think it's just one of those, like, I really wasn't expecting anywhere where it went.
Yeah.
Which isn't a bad thing. It's just... Well, and that is, I guess, one issue with going into things so blind.
But that's the way we should try to do this most of the time.
And that's how I try to watch movies. Like, I don't... Like, even movies or games even that I'm really excited for, I won't watch trailers. I won't watch... really anything.
Yeah, I
just
did that
so
with the last Star Wars and was severely disappointed.
I've yet to see the night.
It's on the Plex server.
I cannot be bothered to watch it.
Yeah, it's not very good.
And that, like, really upsets me because I was Rey for Halloween in 2016. Like, I love Rey. And now I don't.
Yeah.
Because I know what happens.
It's not very good.
Not
anyway.
indeed. That's what I hear. But yeah, I think the movie was fine. I don't know that it is a classic by any means.
I think it definitely could fit well into a list of
I think it was good, and I think it's one of those that it subverts a lot of expectations.
Yeah, and there's a subset of
And it's
movies
not bad.
that I think it definitely belongs in, and I think it's a good one of those.
I think it would go well in the same vein as, like, it's not quite the same genre, but like Nightcrawler.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
And like Taxi Driver, maybe.
Yeah, as far as those kind of movies go.
Although I guess those are all just like people that drive and go crazy and kill people.
Yeah.
I guess spoilers for those.
I think it's a pretty good one of those. Like,
yeah.
I would say
very, very specific in the genre.
Yeah.
I think it's fine. It's not really a thriller. It's not really... The drama isn't really that interesting to me. It's a revenge tale. Really, I think.
Yeah.
I just don't think you get to know the driver well enough to care. Because I think a lot of your caring and, like, feeling towards him, and it's a lot of subtlety in Ryan Gosling's how he played the character, but also for me, I think if it was played by somebody else, I wouldn't have cared as much.
Probably.
And then, like, also I saw a thing that said Ryan Gosling replaced Hugh Jackman. That would have been a different movie.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if that would be good or bad. I think he would have played the crazy better, and it literally would have had more lines because Ryan Gosling worked with the director to cut most of the driver's lines out. So it would have been, like, completely different. But I don't think it was groundbreaking. I think it had really cool effects. It had really great effects.
It did, yeah.
So if you're looking for just a movie with cool practical effects, this one's for you. A lot of really big names. And I think that...
Randomly, yeah.
Yeah.
But most of them weren't that big of names at this point either. Like, Breaking Bad hadn't come out yet, so Bryan Cranston...
It started in 2008. That's why they hired him.
Oh, did it?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
That's what the trivia said.
Well, I don't remember that being that way, but...
Yeah, me neither. But that makes sense, because I watched the whole thing with my dad. And it was like, what was it, 7 seasons?
Something like that.
Yeah, and he died in 2014, so... Like, yeah, that
makes
that
sense.
fits, huh?
Ron Perlman at this point was mainly Sons of Anarchy, was like the only thing he was really doing. Sons of Anarchy and a little Hellboy here and there.
Yeah, Christina Hendricks. I don't think Mad Men had started yet. Maybe. Yeah, and then Oscar Isaac.
He wasn't doing anything yet.
Nobody. Yeah. And I think he played that character really great because, especially with that character, I think he's probably only in the movie maybe
10 minutes.
Maybe 10 minutes, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that I don't think he steals the show, but I think
he's one
really
of the more memorable characters.
Yeah. He really plays the conflicted like he's a really conflicted guy, and he wants to do right by his family, but he also can't quit it all the way.
Yeah.
And I love that scene where he's standing off to Ryan Gosling, and even though Ryan Gosling's not giving him anything back, he kind of establishes, like, hey, if you're a threat, we're gonna cut that out right now.
Yeah.
But he also genuinely thanks him for helping take care of his family while he was gone. So yeah. And also, again, it's one of those things, like, if your kid likes somebody, you like them. And that kid loved Ryan Gosling. But yeah, I think that the performances were really strong.
Mm-hmm.
I think the writing was fine. I think it wasn't stand out.
I think it was good for what it is.
Yeah.
It wasn't up for awards or anything, but
yeah, and I don't think the story was anything to write home about.
No, but it's also just a classic story.
Yeah. I don't think it really had any new... I don't think it offers anything new to the genre. I think it's done very well, but I think it's a well-worn tale.
Yep.
But with cool practical effects that those things don't.
Well choreographed driving.
Very well choreographed. Ryan Gosling learned how to drive a bunch of it.
Good practical effects.
Great practical effects, yeah.
Good. It
did everything.
Good framing.
Incredible framing, incredible lighting, really good atmosphere. I think the issue that I have with it the most isn't because I'm saying some really great things about it, and I liked it okay, is all of these things separately were so good, but together they didn't really mix as well as the parts separately, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like that sense. Yeah, like that incredible framing and lighting. It's like this is a car movie.
Yeah.
And it fits really well in the scenes it's in.
That said, I watch a lot of Top Gear, and I am always really fascinated with the way that the camera people get the shots that they do, because they half of that show is just framing cars, and they do it really well. So I guess I just appreciate that.
And I think that it does everything it's trying to do very well, but since it's so I've seen every aspect of it on its own.
Yeah, and
so
that's
it's not
another
really
thing
super memorable.
I came to this having seen a bunch of car movies and being a relatively interested car person and a big fan of action. So I guess if I wanted to watch a revenge movie, there's probably a different one I'd pick. And if I wanted to watch a car movie, I'd watch The Transporter.
Yeah. So it's not standout in any way. Really. And it's not bad at all. I think it's definitely, I would recommend it. I don't know who.
I think,
and I don't think I would specifically recommend it to anybody, but it's like,
I think
if
it's
you're
one of those
thinking about
movies,
watching it, watch it. It's good.
Yeah, I think it's one of those movies that check it out at some point. It's something.
There's still they're talking about locking down Austin again.
Yeah,
we'll have some time on our hands. It's not bad.
It's one of those things where, and for a while at least, it was a part of the zeitgeist. People did talk about it and it still comes up.
I don't remember that at all.
I do, but I don't remember if they said good things or bad things about it. But it's one of those things where it's I think
they said medium things about it because it's got a 78, which is I don't know, the most medium number, more medium than 70, I think. Because it's it's not quite good enough to get a B, and it's not bad enough to be a true C.
Yeah. And it doesn't go lower than C when it comes to critic ratings. So,
or my high school's grading system.
It's one of those things I don't want to say all of the movies that I can think to say are considered classics, and I don't want that to be what you interpret from this, but it's The Godfather. You might not be particularly interested in it. It might not be your favorite mobster movie, but you should check it out at some point.
Yeah,
it's one of those
just on my list.
Just watch it. It's.
I mean, and that's a classic. I don't think this is a classic.
And that's exactly what I don't want. I guess a better comparison would be I don't know, the original Friday the 13th. It's not very good, but
that's also a classic in its own. But that was also groundbreaking at the time, and you can appreciate that for what it is.
Okay.
I think
I Know What You Did Last Summer. Not very good. Not considered a classic.
You know what? I think this could have been a great made-for-TV movie. It's better than that.
Or maybe an Netflix original.
Yeah, it's one of those it comes on TV. You don't have to change the channel.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
You might even stick around through the ads every 10 minutes in between. So
if you're not sure what to watch and it's an option,
it's not bad.
Check it out.
You get to honestly, I know I said this a lot when we were watching it. Ryan Gosling looks so good in this movie. Well, and the lighting really helps. And I also think that this is going to sound weird, but his coloration was really good for the shots. His blue eyes and his blonde hair, I think, really reflected the light really well and also worked. When he's driving, the green lights and the red lights are reflected really well in his eyes.
I think the palettes that they chose for this movie really complement him as well.
Yes.
So, yeah.
And also, he's Ryan Gosling.
Dope jacket.
Okay. We didn't talk about the jacket at all. It's silver with a golden scorpion on the back.
I think it's white. It's like, and it's knitted in that diamond pattern. Yeah, quilted. With a scorpion just across the entire back. And it's awesome.
Yeah, that's a really cool jacket. I don't think I would wear it, but I think it's too much of a statement piece.
I don't have the confidence for it.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's a statement piece. But
I almost was like, whoa, does he drive for the Alcaldos? Like, it looks like one of their jackets.
It's like a costume, but it's cool.
Ryan Gosling can pull it off. I don't think we could.
His jacket is on Etsy.
Mm-hmm. It is.
For how much?
I've looked into it.
For how much is his jacket available?
But yeah, we should probably get close to wrapping it up.
We didn't even introduce ourselves.
I'm Tanner.
Where can we find you, Tanner?
Just don't look for me right now. I'm going through stuff.
Do not perceive me.
I'm on Twitter at
Pod Schneider. You can find me Twitter, Instagram, Twitch at The Queen Kaiju. You can find us at channel3media.com. This podcast will have a Twitter one day. I want to name it something really dumb, so stay tuned. It's not. It's at C3 Film School. And you can also find our other podcasts. I guess the other one's just C3. Or is it Channel 3 or C3?
Channel 3 and
Spoop Troop.
We had a couple more we were talking about, but I'm going to be honest.
I don't think...
We don't have the time for that.
I don't think so. Not right now. Maybe once we get more established in a routine, but we haven't recorded Spoop Troop in how long?
It's been a while, but I've got some good topics.
But yeah, what?
Quick update. This is Spoop Troop related. This is not for this show, but I'd like to throw it out there because I want to tease it a little bit.
Okay, well, okay, go for it.
I was contacted by my sister who sent me a link to someone from the Mineral Wells, Weatherford area talking about the goat people.
Oh, that's actually super exciting.
And we'll have a Goat People 3.0 episode hopefully soon. But yeah, that's all. This has been our other podcast.
Been Channel 3 Film School. We'll be back at some point with a different movie. If you have ideas, you can tweet at us.
Yeah, I guess tweet at us personally. Or
go to our website, channel3media.com.
Yeah, I'll set up a forum on the website. Feel free to go there and recommend a movie.
By the time this is out, we'll have a Twitter going.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.